In this video, I'm going to go over two methods to calculate function values on the TI-84 graphing calculator. Okay, so as an example, I have this function here, f of x is equal to 4x squared minus 7x minus 12. And we're going to do an example where we calculate this function at the value x equals 7 and also at the value x equals -2. So as you know, if you want to calculate the function value manually, what you do is you take the x value that's given, so in this case x equals 7, and you plug it into the variable x, right? So this 7 goes in the place of this x and also in the place of this x. And so when you write it out, it looks like this, and the calculation is given here. So I'm not going to go through the calculation step by step, but you can use this to verify that what the calculator is calculating is correct. Okay, so the first method I'm going to show on the graphing calculator is to just write out the calculation the long way like this, right, where you just plug in the number for x. So you write this line out, and then you just enter this line directly into the graphing calculator, right? So 4 times 7 squared minus 7 times 7. So it's a good practice when plugging in the number for x to put in the parentheses when you're doing this substitution, like I've done here, right? So the reason for that is the TI-84 understands how to do the order of operations as long as you write it out in the correct way. And so if you get into the habit of putting in the parentheses like I've done here, all the calculations will go through without any problems. And so you can see that the graphing calculator calculates everything all at once, and it gives the correct answer, 135. And similarly, we calculate the function value when x is equal to -2, right? So again, you just enter into the calculator exactly as I've written it out like this here, with the parentheses in the correct places. So one thing to be aware of when using negative numbers in the calculator is this symbol here. This symbol here is the negative symbol, which is this key on the calculator, whereas this symbol here in front of the 7 is a subtraction symbol, which is this key on the calculator, right? So the negative symbol and the subtraction symbol are two different keys on the TI-84 calculator, so you don't want to mix them up when entering it in, or the calculator will give an error. So minus 7 times -2, right? So here I use the negative button, and then minus 12. So I entered it all in a single line, all at once, written out in the correct way, and it will calculate the final results all at once. Okay, so that's the first way of calculating function values, right? So you just enter in the entire thing written out like this manually. The other way to do it, which is useful if you're calculating many different function values using the same function like we're doing here, right? So in both examples here, we're using the same original function. So what you can do is enter in the function into the calculator by using the y equals button at the top here, right? So my function is 4x squared, right? So 4, this is the variable x, this key gives me the variable x, then this is to square it, and then minus 7x again, and then minus 12, right? So now so make sure you are aware of where you put in the function, right? So my function is characterized as y1. Okay, so you see how you can enter in multiple functions if you want, but for now we only have one function, and my function is y1. Okay, so we need to go back into the main screen by pressing second and then quit, because quit is in blue above the mode button, right? So that's why you have to use the second to access the quit thing. And okay, so now we're back in the main screen. So my function is y1, so I need to access that, and so I go into vars, so this key here, and it's a y variable, right? So at the top you see y vars, and it's a function, so I choose function, and then it's the first function y1, so I choose y1. Okay, so my function is y1, and I want to evaluate it at x equals 7. Right, so I just enter it using function notation, right? So y1 evaluated at x equals 7 gives me 135, which is the correct calculation. And then now if we want to also calculate the function at -2, we just repeat the procedure, right? So you go vars y1, and so on. But one thing that's useful, so let me just do it. So here vars y vars, choose function, choose y1, and then now we calculate at -2. So one thing that's useful in this graphing calculator when you're repeating the same command over and over again is you can repeat the last command, right? So which is using the entry here, which gives you the last entry, right? So second, and then entry. So this just automatically types in my last entry, right? So if I want to calculate now the function at x equals 5, I can do that. If I want to calculate the function at x equals 0, I can do that. So this is the second method to calculate function values, and it's very useful if you're calculating multiple values for the same function. Okay, so this concludes the video.